Okay, we're live. Welcome, everybody, to today's episode of Office Hours, where we're talking about the age-old hip-hop question. Would you rather have $500,000 cash in your hand, or would you rather have dinner with Jay-Z? And the implication there is, of course, that you would like pitch your business, and Jay-Z will be so blown away that he'll be like, I will give you all my billions and my cosign. So that's what we're here to talk about. As always, Stowe and I are here to provide practical advice to independent artists and creatives. We've got over 100 episodes with all kinds of topics, from relationships to contracts to newsletters to all the things. So please take a look at those. But why don't we just jump in, Stowe?
Yeah. If you like what you hear, hit the like button. These are usually our more controversial episodes. We've done a couple of these now. Whether it was Kyrie a couple of years back. I'm trying to remember the one that we actually got smoked for. Like stuff. I don't even remember what we talked about, but we kind of got smoked for that a little bit. We don't care. This is just honest conversation. I'm very interested to see how this goes, and I'm very curious to see how others react to it. But yeah,
Can I say
you pretty much know your answer, but I'm very excited to hear you detail it.
Well, okay, even before we get into that, it's been really interesting because this question, has kind of been one of those, like in hip hop, there's certain questions, right? Like, who are your top 5? Everyone talks, who's better, Tupac or Biggie? And this Jay-Z question has kind of been one of those common hip hop questions. And I remember a time where people would easily say Jay-Z, it wasn't even, and I posted this question in a couple community spaces. Actually, I ran a poll on my Instagram, and overwhelmingly this time, hold on, I'll tell you all the live data right now. It was 12 to 88%. 88% out of all the people who responded, 88% of them would take the $500,000, the $500,000. And there was a time that I remember where people would pick Jay-Z over the money. And so I think this shift is really interesting. And what happened on my Instagram was replicated in my community Discord, on Culture Fix, and the Dead Music and all these different places that I was I'm just curious what people are going to say. I think it's interesting that generally the shift has gone from this dinner with Jay-Z, because again, I remember a time where people were like, yeah, of course I'm gonna sit with Hove and blah 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 blah, to being nah, cash in hand.
Right.
And I think that
and it speaks to a lot. Yeah. Sorry, my bad.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I feel like it's a question that it's a question I feel like has just kind of come up over the last decade or so. If I'm remembering correctly, it was because there was a Rock Nation dinner or brunch or something like that at the Grammys or there's no way it was South by. It was some big event, and Rock Nation always does a brunch or something every year. And I remember the pictures that were being put on the internet, and someone took one of those and then actually posed that question. But it now has definitely become an age-old question. And now even to the point where you see people kind of, I guess they took the dinner with Jay-Z instead of the money. Yikes, big mistake. And so I don't know. It's really interesting to see how things have gone. And so the first thing I'm gonna say is this: I'm taking the freaking money. Are we serious out here? There's so many, especially because I think the question originally was $1 million, I think. But even 500K, give me the money. I can invest and do way more with that. We'll get into this, but a dinner with Jay-Z not saving your career and not immediately changing the trajectory the way you think it is. And I think there are still somehow people out here who think all I have to do is meet Jay-Z and I'll succeed. And it's just, I don't want to go there, but for some cats out here, they meet Jay-Z and then their whole life falls apart. And so, I don't know, hey, You have people like LaRussell. Brother was bragging so hard about meeting Jay-Z. Not even 2 weeks later, brother has deleted all of his social media because he got too cocky. So is it really that much of an upside? Does it really help your career that much?
And look, like it could be Jay-Z or it could be enter any other, right? Like it could be anyone. I think there's something here about like the idea that someone else is going to save you, right? Like that you're going to be discovered.
An assumption.
Yeah, like right, like, and not even the assumption, but the idea that you need someone else to put you on, as opposed to building it yourself, creating a groundswell, going direct to consumer, like all of that kind of stuff. And so like Jay-Z doesn't give a shit about you. None of these billionaires do. And the idea that they will then invest in you more than you've invested in yourself, believe in you more than you believe in yourself. Like that's not it. And so this question for me represents as much about like, whatever, like Jay-Z or the money, but as much about like, what do we think of billionaires and gatekeepers and our place in relation to perceived power. And so there's this like perception of power that Jay-Z has, and that we think we need external power to get us to where we want to be. And we don't. And in fact, what we've seen over and over and over with the Jay-Z's of the world, is that they're deeply problematic. They oftentimes undermine and ruin careers. They create very financially unhelpful situations for their artists, right? The one that's incarcerated right now still has artists fighting him for their masters. Like that dinner would not benefit anybody. So it's as much about the money as it is about how we perceive power in the industry. And I think oftentimes we think that, and that we align ourselves with these like figureheads that we don't know, as opposed to our peers and collaborators and colleagues who are there with us, right? Like me, Stowe, and 6 of our friends having dinner together for way less than $500,000 would probably be more beneficial, more impactful, more game-changing for all of us in our careers than a dinner with some singular person would be. And so like if Stowe and I gathered 6 people and we're like, all right, y'all, here's the plan. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to support each other. Here's how we're going to pool our resources, this, that, and the other. That would be exponentially better for all of us. And so moving away from this like singularity to a much more collective, collaborative, that's really because even that $500,000 or $1 million, or even if it was 8 million, like that doesn't mean anything really without the collaboration and the community behind you. So at the end of the day, like none of this is going to be like a singular savior coming to like make your career.
Exactly. That's more or less what I meant by like assumption of power. Like there are too many people out here that like legitimately believe like, all right, I'm gonna have dinner with Jay-Z and I'm gonna pitch myself, and then he's gonna sign a contract with me for X amount of years and pay me X amount of money, and then he's gonna, market me and, do all this stuff. And it's just like I just feel like sometimes artists have this like, if I can just meet Jay-Z, everything will be fine. If I can just meet him and talk to him for even just 10 minutes, I will succeed. He won't be able to resist what I bring to. Brother ain't got so much money, he ain't thinking about no freaking independent artists, let alone like actually like propping them up. Because if we really want to get into it, he's not doing that anymore. And like, did he really do that to begin with? Is really something that has to be discussed. And I think there's, again, a misconception of like, oh, he just has access to everybody and just can make, he can just open doors for me. And it's just like, no, like you actually can. Like Nora just said, if you get 3 to 6 of your buddies with $500K and can actually sit down and put that money in the right place and like come up with a market, like all this other stuff, that will do infinitely more than meeting Jay-Z. And it's like, listen, I'm probably the wrong person to like actually talk about this because I've never been like, I understand from a stereotypical standpoint, Jay-Z is a legend, But like, he's not in my top 10. He's not in my top 25. He's not in my top 50. I'm not saying he doesn't make good music. I'm not saying there aren't songs that I can throw on and run around to and like that don't bang. I'm not saying that, because he came up from some messed up stuff too. That's relatable. I get that. But like, he is not this godlike figure that I feel like so many artist heads and hip hop heads have made him out to be, let alone he is not the person that's just out here helping artists. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, if you're in, especially, and it's not just Jay-Z, that's the thing. Jay-Z is easy to pick on, but there's so many different examples of different entities in music that like, they're not just going to take your shit and blow you up. Like, it doesn't work like that. Oh man, maybe one day we will do another episode on like the whole industry plant thing, because I don't think you all really understand what an industry plant actually is. And so, and the reality is, like, some of y'all will speak about Jay-Z like you want him to turn you into an industry plant. Like, that's what I hear when I hear I want dinner with Jay-Z. I hear I'm going to sell myself out as hard as I possibly can in hopes that he invests in me. And then from there, and here's the other part, if he invests in you, he's not letting you do whatever the fuck you want. It's his game now. It's his rollout now. You're his artist now. Like, oh boy, I could keep cooking, but I need to shut up before I say some wild shit.
No. And actually, Jay-Z is not in my top 25, 30, 40, and people are always shocked. So I'm actually like pleasantly surprised though to hear that you feel the same way, because I'm like, okay, the man can rap, but he's also been making the same song his whole career, and he's a shitty person.
God damn,
and
even I wouldn't go that far. Holy shit.
And he's not like the greatest rap. Like, there's better lyrically, technically, there's better rappers. So like, I'm just learning so much about Stowe today. I do get the piece about feeling like people need access to resources and connections and things like that. Like,
that's different.
And Jay-Z represents that, I guess. Again, he's not
the I guess, because does he really?
And that's the thing, is like, if you're gonna take the dinner with Jay-Z, what are you going to ask for? And actually, this is a tie-in to our episode, what was it, last one, where we talked about like calls to action. Like, if you're going to ask for something, you have to know so clearly and so specifically what is it that you're going to ask for. Because if you go to that dinner and you're like, hey, bro, I want you to help me, I want you to blow up my career. Like, what does that mean?
Because that's what some of y'all are expecting.
Right, exactly. And so if you're going to do that, then you got to be really clear about what you're going to ask. Hey, I want an introduction to A, B, and C, or I want, a meeting with this, that, and the other. Get me in the room with, because like, money is important, but in this capitalistic world, like, it is our resources, it is our networks, it is our relationships. Those things are also valuable. So maybe the assumption is $500,000 can get you in those rooms, but it doesn't necessarily take the place of the social capital that someone like Jay-Z maybe represents to people. So you have to know. And so again, like, this all comes back to, if you're trying to blow up your career, you have to know what it is that you need and want. There has to be a strategy in place. You can't just go to Jay-Z and expect Jay-Z to be your business plan. That's not a plan. That's not a strategy. But if you're going to go to Jay-Z and be like, hey, here's what I'm asking, and here's a specific, clear ask, then it makes it easier for someone like him to say, okay, I can do that. And when you move from that, right, because now it's a negotiation. And when you negotiate from that place, you're still sitting in your power. You're not giving everything up. You're confident in what you have. And you're not just relying on him. You are still in control of you, your music, your art, your career, this, that, and the other. So, and again, like, not say there aren't other ways to get in those rooms or have those relationships. But if you think Jay-Z is like the shortcut, if y'all ever played like Chutes and Ladders, that game where you're like going up, like, if Jay-Z is the ladder to the next step, then you have to be really, really clear about where you're going to go and what you're going to ask for, and then be ready to handle that when you get there, right? This is where, if you're going to have that dinner, you have to be prepared. And the same thing with the money. I've seen people throw, oh my God, embarrassing amounts of money at poorly thought out campaign, right? Pay to play campaigns and like things like that, without having any of the infrastructure in place, without having a plan, without having the follow-up. So money in and of itself is not the thing. And you know, we're living in 2026 America. So maybe the money is going to pay your rent for 6 months and cover your childcare so that you can focus on your music. Like that's, in some ways, I think that's more valuable than any of the other stuff. So again, like, not to say it's not as clear cut maybe, and I understand the nuances, but it all comes back to you have to be clear and have a plan and have a strategy for what you want, where you're going, and what you need. Otherwise, it's just throwing, what do they say? You're like throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. Like,
yeah,
we can't afford that.
And yeah, and it's just, again, it's just like, even like Nora said, it's not a shortcut. There's no, and again, even when I'm pitching myself or even talking about this, how the industry works in general, it's just, I genuinely, whether it's a label, whether it's an entity, a celebrity, whoever, like Nora said, I've watched people try to spend X amount of dollars to try to get a Megan Thee Stallion feature or try to get posted on insert website here. And it's just like, that's not going to do anything for you. Is it cool to get Megan Thee Stallion on the track? Absolutely. I love Megan Thee Stallion.
Do you remember when people
were oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. But like, do you remember when people were paying to get on like what was it? What was that website? Not all.
I mean, take your pick.
Yeah, like any of those. Where are those people now? You paid all this money to be on the front page of Not All Hip Hop. Oh my God, what was the one where they post the fight videos?
Oh, fuck. Fucking.
See, we can't
my
even.
God.
Website.
I have. Oh, what is it? World Star. We
can't even remember the name of the name. We can't even remember World Star. And here we are. Years later, you spent hella money, and where are you now? And that's not, anyway, sorry. So I cut you off, and shout out to Candace, to Bytenact, who's joined us.
Oh, shout out to Candace for sure. And no, I mean, it's just, that's a prime example of just like, yeah, some of y'all, I remember some of y'all paying to be on World Star. Some of y'all are still paying, right? To be on blogs that aren't even doing anything for you. It blows my mind every time. And so some of y'all think you can just pay your way to success. And it's just like, all the work that we've talked about in these previous hundreds of episodes or whatever, previous 104 episodes, like that stuff that still has to be done regardless of if you link up with Jay-Z or not, or even if you get the 500K. The work that we talk about here still has to be done regardless. Like, sure, you can use that 500K to pay someone to do that, like obviously. But if you freaking go to Jay-Z, and even if he's like, yeah, I got you. Don't worry, bro. I'm gonna hook you up. You still have to do the work. He cannot, because some of you think he's gonna carry you. That's the other thing that makes us sad about this argument, is that some people will take the dinner with Jay-Z, and it's just like, it's just dinner. If nothing could come from it afterwards, even if he hands you $500,000, guess what? He also wanted that money back. So, like, it's just, he's not carrying you to career success. And even if you look at his history of the people he tried to carry to success, it didn't work.
I mean, you see the equivalent of this in like smaller ways, right? Where people are like, oh, pay for the meet and greet. He might text through the whole dinner. Like, you don't know. He might sign you and then show you.
Beyonce is his wife.
Like, you see this in like big ways, right? Like, we're talking about Jay-Z, but minorly, in smaller ways, this happens all the time. And you see all kinds of predatory things, right? Where people are like, yeah, come to this meet and greet. And you're not going to sell yourself and pitch yourself at a meet and greet, pay extra for the VIP experience to get in the back room. Those people are not there to hear, unless you're going for like a specific
an autograph.
Well, I mean, like sometimes there's like an actual pitch event, right? Like if you're
yeah.
You've like vetted and you've done your research, and you should always do your research. But otherwise, a meet and greet, that's not the thing. Or A&Rs who are like, oh my God, please don't ever pay an A&R to listen to your music. A&Rs get paid by the company that they work for, by the label that they work
To
for,
scout.
to listen to your music and to scout. That is literally their job. It's why they go to shows. It's why they listen to playlists. So if an A&R says, pay me so I can listen to your music, send me $100 in a track. No. You should never pay an A&R to listen to your music, because, so anyways, there's like all these smaller ways that this kind of Jay-Z dynamic gets replicated and that artists get taken advantage of. And so it comes back to what I said at the beginning of this episode, is like, you really have to trust in yourself, your art, your relationship with your audience, the plan that you've built out, the work that you've done, and to know specifically, if you're going to take the money, what is your plan for spending it? And what are the indicators of success that you want to see that that's well done? And views, my friends, I hate to tell you, views, that's not it. I could hate watch a video. Doesn't mean I like it. I'm going to be a fan. I could leave it on in the background while I'm washing the dishes and taking my dog for a walk and not know anything about you. So views are not it. Followers are not it. Followers don't mean anything really, like those kinds of vanity metrics. But look at who is showing up, who is opening your newsletters, who is responding to your newsletters, who is commenting on your videos, right? Like, what are those kinds of things that will make you say, this is what I want when I spend the money? And so Jay-Z is neither here nor there. For many reasons, the man is problematic and delulu and probably should be retired for multiple reasons. But the community that you built, the relationships that you have, the we talk about this in every episode, you can do a lot with that money if you lean into that.
Yeah. The only thing I will say is this: I will take the dinner with Jay-Z, actually, if Beyonce shows up. I will show up then. I will get my copy of Lemonade autographed. I got the recipe book and everything. Okay, that's the only way I'm showing up. But otherwise, and like Nora just said, like, there's so many different levels. We see labels who try to charge artists. We see, again, the whole, oh my God, the whole A&R thing. We should. I can't remember I don't think we've done it. We've mentioned it throughout episodes, but I don't know if we've done an episode on it yet.
The Things You Should Never Pay For episode, which I highly recommend you watch. We definitely touch on it there with a list of other things that you should not ever pay for. But
there's levels for sure. It's just like exponential. It's just the higher you go, it's like, hey, don't pay for a playlist placement. Hey, don't pay for a performance slot. Like, hey, don't pay for a label meeting. Don't pay for a showcase just because insert celebrity here shows up. Don't pay for freaking VIP packages just because certain people show up. You're not going to have time, because I swear to God, because even my own client, like, catch me trying to pitch me, like, thinking like I have this communique with the label or something like that. Meanwhile, the brothers and sisters are just trying to sign autographs so they can go on stage and perform. If they're not trying to hook you up, they can't actually, in a lot of cases, go to those meet and greets. They can't do anything. You shelled out $100 hoping that you could pitch your mixtape. Bro, there's so many different things. And so by the time, you get to Jay-Z, it's $500K, or the dinner with Jay-Z, like, Jay-Z's not going to be able to do nothing for you like that. The way that I think a lot of artists think that he moves for artists. It's just like, because if that was the case, like, the landscape would be real different, and I'll leave that there. So at the end of the day, the work still has to be done. You still, at some point, are going to have to invest in yourself. And investing in yourself doesn't mean paying Jay-Z, who already has tons of money and is only going to take advantage of what you got while simultaneously still not paying you. This man has a streaming platform. I'm so tired of seeing people go to bat for fucking Tidal. Tidal still doesn't pay a penny per stream. What the fuck are we talking about? Sorry. He's not the legend that everybody has made him out to be. I am not saying that he didn't have a rough come up. I am not saying he doesn't make good music, but it's just like, I'm so tired of people just riding this dude like he's a god, not just on the mic, but in real fucking life. I'm not saying I wouldn't, if I saw him in real life, I'm not saying I wouldn't dap him up. I'm not saying I would, hey, I like your music. But there's no way I'm not falling to pieces. I watch the way I watch some of these men get on their knees for this man. It's insane. I gotta cool it.
Yeah. Yes. I think for me, it comes down to, and nothing wrong with getting on your knees if that's your thing. We're not, we're not shaming anyone.
We're not. We are absolutely not.
There's no shame in, right? Like, yeah. But I do think it's important to decenter billionaires from our ideas of success. And rather than celebrating and reinforcing, to really critically address their behavior. And I think Tidal, still, like you brought up, is such a good example. We celebrate Tidal because they pay like 0.01 penny more, and it's still not a whole penny. Like, the standard is low and we deserve better. So if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Please tell us in the comments what you would pick. Would you pick dinner with Jay-Z or $500,000? Or, what would you ask for if you did have that dinner? We really want to know what you think. Stowe and I do not have dinner with Jay-Z, nor do we have $500,000. And so if you want to show appreciation for our work, we appreciate all the love in the forms of tips and donations. Honestly, like, if all you've got is $1 or $2, that really helps. And you can send that to us through Venmo or CashApp. Put office hours in the line, and it gets very shared between Stowe and I. But we do this because we want artists to be successful, and we want y'all to keep your creativity and keep the money and keep the, you work so hard. We try to create an industry that is good for artists, made by artists, rather than being exploited by people who, frankly, don't really care about you or us or the art. Like, let's be real. Shout out to everyone who has joined us. Share this episode, run your own polls, tell us what the results are. In 2 weeks, what are we talking about, Stowe?
Stop comparing yourself to others.
Stop comparing yourself to others. We're back with our mental health series. If you have episodes you want us to talk about, you have juicy topics you want us to debate, let us know. As always, Stowe and I are available for one-on-one consulting as well, to build out the plan for you and help you think about what you need, or figure out what is that ask. How are you going to, all the stuff that we've talked about in today's episode. That's it for me. Final words.
Hit the like button. Hit us up with $1 or $2 so that we can get to that $500,000. Share this with a friend. Hit the subscribe button. We are approaching 10,000 views on the channel, which for 100 episodes, it's easy to be like, that's not a lot. It's like that. To me, that's incredible. I'm surprised we even hit 1,000. Now we're almost at 10K. That's crazy to me. So thank you all for the support. Again, keep sharing it with your friends. Drink water. Talk nice to yourself for once. Go outside for even just a second. And we'll be back in a couple weeks.
Bye.